thank you for joining us for our alumni chat. My name is Jessica Grujon, and I am the Assistant Director of Admissions, as well as your moderator for this session. I am a proud alumna, class of 2009. I graduated from Stockton. Back then it was called the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey, with my Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies. I loved Stockton so much that I decided to stay. And I worked in both the graduate and undergraduate admissions offices. I just celebrated my 11-year anniversary this past March. So I guess you could say I've been here for maybe over half of my life. I want to take this time to recognize all of you who joined us and to let you know that we know these are difficult times for our high school seniors. You know, you're going through unprecedented territories, you know, the cancellation of senior trips, your proms, you know, that was huge for me, getting dressed up and going to prom, celebrating graduation, you know, walking across that stage, socializing with friends, you know, and just trying to figure out what to do after graduation, what trips to go on in the summer. And so I know, you know, I feel you, and I just want to let you all know that we're in this together. We're here to help you, and we're here to get you through the next step of choosing Stockton. So this is a very stressful time for you, our prospective students and our families. And I just want to assure you that our admissions team would be more than happy to talk to you one-on-one to help with answering any questions that you may have. So going back, you know, this is our chat with our alumni. So I would like to take this time now and turn it over to our alumni panelists that have joined us. Please, if you'd like to take the time to introduce yourselves using your name, hometown, major at Stockton, and what you're doing now as guidance, feel free now to go ahead and take over the mic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Medina. I'm one of the assistant directors of admissions at Stockton, and also the coordinator for EOF recruitment at Stockton. I am too a proud Stockton two-time alum. My first degree from Stockton was in '93 in marketing, and my second degree in instructional technology, also from Stockton, in 2001. I have had the fortunate pleasure to be assistant director now over 20 years at Stockton. So one of the seasoned seasoned representatives. I cover all of South Jersey schools, and more importantly, the EOF recruitment efforts that we have. More importantly, I am too a proud EOF graduate from Stockton. So I do see that there are some of the attendees that are our prospective Osprey students for the Summer Academy. So I'm glad that you guys have chimed in today. You can, of course, decide to go anywhere. So we know that it is a great opportunity that we have to
so
really
our next
showcase
alum,
the very best that Stockton has to offer you. So thanks for chiming in.
So as you all can see, you know, our employees, not only do we graduate from Stockton, but we end up staying. We love it here so much. Stockton sucks us right on in. So our next alum, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Eric Burrell, an alumnus of Stockton University. I wanted to just say that it was a great opportunity here today, and I just wanted to just join in and be able to give some insight. I currently reside in Woodbury, New Jersey, and I majored in communication studies, and I am now working in the field of education in the Camden City School District.
Welcome, my fellow communication studies alum.
Yes.
What decided to choose education after our careers?
Well, I had always had a desire to try to help out some of those students from my hometown of Camden, New Jersey. So I just wanted to be able to give back to my old stomping ground in the city of Camden.
Love it. Well, I thought I was going to be a famous MTV VJ or host on Telemundo, but that didn't work out. But I'm glad it took me where I am today. So welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Okay, who else would like to introduce themselves?
Go ahead.
My name is Elaine Ramos. I'm from South Plainfield, and like the others, I love Stockton so much that I stayed the additional year and a half and got another bachelor's. So I have my bachelor's in business studies and elementary education. And right now I am the program coordinator for a liquor distributor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Ramos. So our next alum, if you could please introduce yourself.
And hello, my name is Matt Greer. I am from Maple Shade, New Jersey, so over by Cherry Hill and Morristown. When I was at Stockton, I majored in psychology with a concentration in elementary ed, also had minors in math and business studies. And currently, I'm the program coordinator for fraternity and sorority life at Temple University in Philadelphia.
Thank you. And I see that we have a distinguished three-time alum joining us this evening, and it is our Chief Enrollment Management Officer, Dr. Robert Heinrich. Would you like to introduce yourself, Dr. Bob?
Yes, Jessica, thank you so much. And thank you to my fellow Osprey alum who are with us today to welcome some prospective future Ospreys as part of our admitted students virtual week of events. As Jessica mentioned, my name is Bob Heinrich, and I have 3 degrees from Stockton. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, an MBA, and a doctorate in organizational leadership. And I've actually spent my entire adult life, at Stockton, working here since 1998. Previous to becoming the Chief Enrollment Management Officer, I was our Chief Information Officer overseeing the Division of Information Technology. And I've been in the current role for about the past 2 years. The opportunity to be here to share with all of you the perspective from an alumni, I think, is really important. So without further ado, I kind of want to turn it over to Jessica to help facilitate the rest of the program.
Thank you. You're trying to show us all out. 3 degrees from Stockton, okay? All right. We're very happy to host everyone here. And now that you have met our alumni panelists, I'd like to jump right in and basically just start right back, let's go back to the beginning. Why did you choose Stockton? How did you decide on your major? And what's one piece of advice that you would give our freshmen starting at Stockton in the fall? So please don't all raise your hands at once. But I'd definitely love to hear from each of you.
Okay, should I start first?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is Eric Burrell again, as you all could see. I chose Stockton for 2 reasons. Number one, I wanted to be able to attend a university that had that home life feeling. I wanted to be able to make sure that I felt as though I was home at Stockton University. Number two, I had a great experience during my campus tour. I felt as though the Office of Admissions and the EOF department did a great job at highlighting some of the attributes at Stockton University. So I must honestly say that I was actually sold from those 2 things right there. Some piece of information or advice that I could give to a freshman: just always remember that you are there. Your main goal is to get your education. Keep that in the forefront and you will do well. So that's it for me.
Oh, wise words. Thank you.
This is Heather Medina, again, from the admissions office. So why did I choose Stockton? I have the distinct opportunity to come in through the EOF program. As I mentioned, I hail from Camden City and did very well in high school and applied to several different schools and was admitted to a number of different colleges and universities. But I really wanted to choose somewhere that was not too far and then not too close to my hometown. I wanted to still have the opportunity to be able to see my family when I needed. I really am, I'm really close to my family. So I wanted to have something that will still give me my independence, but still felt that I was, independent, living away from home. So that was the main reason why I chose Stockton, and also because of the EOF program. They give me a nice financial aid package. So I was able to pursue my studies here, and then, fortunate to return as in my career to finish my master's. So I was really fortunate to have both opportunities. What I would recommend, a piece of advice that I would give a first-year student is, when you need help, ask for it. I think too many times we think that we are going through this solo and we want to try and act like we know it all. And that can become a little bit of a challenge, because you're coming into, uncharted territory, and, may not really need the assistance. And so I would recommend that you use the support services that Stockton has. But more importantly, when you, need help, that you ask for it, because we have a number of different support systems on campus, our wellness office, our tutoring center for extra academic help. So I would suggest that you use all of those resources and use them to your benefit.
I was like, for me, Stockton was the easy decision. I knew I wanted to go to Stockton since sophomore year of high school. It's actually the only school I applied to. I was highly ranked in my class. I think I ended up being third in high school for class rank, and knew that I could kind of get the experience that I wanted. But my sophomore year, I attended a Bully Busters program at Stockton through my Human Relations Club, and just fell in love with the campus. There is just that feeling that you get when you're on the right college campus for you, and Stockton was right for me. I knew I didn't want to be in like a college town or someplace where I would just be another number. Stockton allowed me to really grow and prosper, and I felt that from the very first instant that I was there. Plus, you can't get away from the views. The Pine Barrens bring such a unique experience that is a stressor in itself. Just taking the walk around Lake Fred to kind of clear your head. Those were some of the selling points that really allowed me to feel like I was at home at Stockton, and made it the right choice for me. I decided that I wanted to be, at first, a math major, and I wanted to be a high school math teacher to kind of emulate what the great math teachers that I had. Once I kind of was on my way, I decided that math wasn't the exact path that I wanted to take. So I went the psychology route, because I knew I wanted to learn about people and how they function. And that's why I went on to get my master's and do the work that I do now within our student activities office. But really wanted to get to know how people work, and that's why psychology was the fit for me. The piece of advice that I would give for a freshman starting off at Stockton is feel free to get involved. There's just so much to do at Stockton, that there is such an array of different clubs, organizations, events that you can attend. And I'm telling you, wild things that you can get involved with, from a bug eating club to chess club or nursing club, things that are academically focused too. So there's just such a great things to get involved with. When I was an undergrad, I was an orientation leader. I was an admissions ambassador. I was a welcome week mentor. And those experiences are some that I still remember very highly and think of very highly in my Stockton experience. So really think about getting involved once you're actually on campus.
Oh, you were an all-star, Matt. Good for you. And our next alum?
So I chose Stockton because I fell in love with the campus. It was probably the 5th school I looked at, and compared to all the other schools, it was by far the cleanest. And you just, like Matt said, you get that feeling like this is it. And it felt like home. And it was a good distance away from my parents, yet if I needed to go home, I could just drive home. Also, as a freshman back then, we were allowed to have our cars, so that was huge. As far as my major, I chose business because I felt like it gave me a wide variety of things to do. And then education was just always something I wanted to do. So I was able to bank both of them out in 5.5 years. As far as advice, I would say time management as a freshman. And if you need help with anything, don't be afraid to ask.
I love it. Yeah, so guess what? We still allow freshmen to bring their cars on our campus, which is still very unique. And just to echo from my fellow alumni panelists, you know, Stockton does really feel like home, and, you know, we're sorry that we can't host you on our campus at this time. If any of the attendees of this session has not yet experienced our beautiful campus tours or have interacted with our admissions ambassadors, we definitely will be providing opportunities very soon where you can interact with them virtually and hopefully very soon on our campus at our open house that we have scheduled for May 31st. But just to let everyone know also, I was a transfer student. So even though I went to school locally within 15 minutes of Stockton's Galloway campus, I actually was one of those that said, no, I'm not staying in South Jersey. I'm moving away. And I picked a school all the way in Miami. And after a year, I decided to transfer back because it wasn't home. And Stockton just feels like home. You know, the short distance drive to the beach, studying in a place nestled in the National Pineland Reserves, you know, it's kind of like a little getaway. And it's just, basically, it was an opportunity for me to take advantage of the flat rate tuition, take my 20 credits a semester. It's definitely a full course load, but it did allow me to still stay on track to graduate within 4 years, even after transferring and taking a break from school. So I'd like to ask Ms. Ramos, actually, what was your favorite class or professor at Stockton?
I would have to say Atom Man and Universe, Professor Yitzhak was my favorite. At first I was a little skeptical because it was in the huge lecture hall, but he just grabbed your attention and it made us like into the class. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, but all of my friends decided to take the class because they've heard upperclassmen were like, this is the class to take. And yeah, by far. What's that?
Elaine, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Elaine?
It's a little like in and out, but yes, I can.
Okay, so what were you saying?
It was just, he just grabbed our attention and just made it the most interesting class. Everything that he talked about, the lectures didn't feel like lectures because it went by so fast.
And usually our class sizes are less than 35 students in class. So we definitely have those rare gems of professors and classes where they would fill up to almost up to 200 students, including Dr. Bailey, William Bailey. Did anybody take his classes? Anybody else?
I did, yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, all right, so who was your favorite class or professor?
Well, I have to honestly say I had several professors that I really enjoyed their tutelage, but one that I must point out was Jennifer Barr. I had her for this one class called Speech, Argument, and Persuasion. And she just was a great professor. She taught me how to articulate and to make sure that all the students were able to get their point across professionally, socially, and academically. So that was one of my favorite classes and one of my favorite professors. One of my favorite memories at Stockton, I would say there's several, developing all of the bonds and relationships that I had, not just with the professors, but with some of the students, that I maintained those friendships over the year, even till this day. Did I change my major at Stockton? No, I stayed with the major of communications. I thought that I was going to be this famous on-air personality. I was
Like me.
I was on WLFR. I'll never forget it. I had a show, 91.7 Thursday nights. I had a slow jam show, and my friends would tune in every Thursday night from 12 to 2. And it was really fun. Sometimes they would call and ask me if they could have a request, and I would try to play their song if I could. And I called myself, since it was a slow jam show, I called myself the Love Doctor.
Eric, that's awesome, and we should share with our prospective students that the only way to hear a song you wanted to hear, if you didn't have a CD or cassette tape at the time, is to request it on the radio, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And could we hear your intro of your radio?
You're listening to the Love Doctor on WLFR 91.7.
Whoa, look at that, you guys. That is awesome.
Yeah. If I also may add, I was on SSTV at the time. I don't know if you guys still call it, but it was called SSTV. I was extremely involved in that. That was fun too. It kind of gave me that communications field that I was always looking for. Secondly, what were you involved in outside of the classroom? The clubs and organizations that I was involved in, I was a active member, still of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I played intramural basketball, flag football, and I had the same job for 4 years at the Office of Continuing Education. At that time, I believe she retired, but Barbara Kennedy was my boss at the time. So that stood out, just knowing that I was able to maintain the same job all 4 years.
That's awesome. Matt or Ms. Ramos, would you like to answer what did you change your major while at Stockton, or did you want to elaborate on any of the involvement that you had on our campus while a student?
Sure. One of my favorite memories at Stockton was back then our men's soccer team won the Final Four. So after Thanksgiving, we all drove out to Pennsylvania and we got to watch the men's soccer team win the national championship. So that was by far my favorite memory. I was then later invited by one of the team members to go to their induction ceremony a few years ago, which was their 10-year anniversary from winning the championship. Did I change my major? Yes. I started off as a psych major and couldn't get past Freud, so then I did business and education. And I was one of the founding members of Zeta Tau Alpha, and those girls are still my best friends. I've been in their weddings. I'm a godmother to one of their children. So the people that you meet at Stockton, it doesn't end there. They're your lifelong friends that turn into your family.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I talked through my major change recently, but wanted to really focus in on that outside the classroom involvement. So I spoke about being an orientation leader, and depending on what orientation looks like this summer, you can really engage with student leaders on campus or indirectly as well in some of these kind of platforms. And that opportunity really allowed me to really grow as a person, and allowed me to really gain some of the leadership skills that I use today. I was also president of the programming board. So Stockton Entertainment Team on campus puts on a lot of large scale programming, from homecoming to Woodstockton, the spring concert. There's also some smaller scale events from like game shows or coffee houses that they put on. And it's just always a fun time to be around. One of my favorite experiences, and just the amount of things that I got to experience through programming board were great. We went to 4 different conferences in different states. I've gotten to meet artists. So I got to meet Kesha, Taking Back Sunday, who else was there? The Goo Goo Dolls, and Panic at the Disco, all because of those experiences. And then I also, as a member of fraternity, I'm a member of Kappa Sigma on campus. And those experiences really helped me to grow with self-governance and how to hold people accountable. And really the extracurricular experiences have really helped me with a lot of the day-to-day duties of my job nowadays. So some really great experiences that I got from the Stockton extracurricular experience as well.
Thank you so much. But I'd like to ask Ms. Medina, because Ms. Medina really knows that Stockton definitely provides our students with essential learning outcomes that are transferable in the workplace through the various clubs and organizations and involvement on our campus. Ms. Medina, would you like to share with our audience how you were involved at Stockton?
Sure. Well, had the opportunity to hold a couple of different leadership roles, both in Student Senate and in the sorority that I was a part of, which was Lambda Theta Alpha. The Student Senate is an elected position, so I was able to be on the forefront of many of the different initiatives that our students still currently are proposing, different changes. And one thing you're going to find out about Stockton very quickly is that students are really first. And so the things that we proposed as student senators were definitely an opportunity for us to get our voices heard through the administration. So I was involved with that. I had the fortunate pleasure to also be a student worker. And at the time I was a student, I worked actually in President Kesselman's office, who was vice president at the time. And so even at that early part of my involvement with Stockton, I was, able to really work with some of the key administrators on changing and doing different things, for our students at Stockton. I would say that through those involvements and through that experience really are those opportunities that really develop those what we call non-cognitive variables. So gives you an opportunity to really be able to present, really give you a level of professionalism that you're going to need when you go out in the workforce, give you an opportunity to really be able to interact with, key faculty and just really get involved with, the campus life. So with my involvement, I would say that I would recommend any student to look into our Get Involved Fair every year, about a week or two after classes start. All of the clubs and organizations line the entire campus. And so it's really easy to seek out those clubs and organizations, sign up if that is something of an interest to you, and really get involved. And I would really say that that is the key thing as a first-year student.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. I think the common theme that we are hearing from our alumni panelists is that Stockton really is a family. Like there's a family atmosphere because our professors are invested in us from the moment that they begin advising us as our preceptors or our professional mentors. our deans who see potential in us, our faculty and staff in the various offices that remember us, because there are opportunities to really make an impact on and to actually have yourself heard in the classroom. But it's when our professors see potential in us and they know us because of our small class sizes and because of that one-on-one professional mentorship. They remember us for our internships opportunities, writing letters of recommendations for us when we're applying for our first job. It's important that everybody knows that when you choose a school that has such small student to faculty ratios, that you get more opportunities afforded to you, which will then take me to my next slide, which is basically, what was your first job after graduation? Matt, if you could please elaborate a little bit further.
Yep. So following graduation, I went on to get my master's at Rutgers University, but worked in fraternity and sorority life at the same time. So because of the experiences that I was offered at Stockton, I was able to secure that internship that was like paid for my master's degree, which was awesome. But definitely wouldn't have had the ability to even be seen as a candidate without the experiences that Stockton offered me. And was able to really get that coveted internship following graduation for my master's program.
That's huge. Mr. Burrell.
Awesome. So my first job after graduation was in education in the Camden City School District. After about 5 to 7 years, I went back to get my master's from Wilmington University in education. And I think Stockton prepared me because it allowed me to flourish some of the skills that I've learned at Stockton, like writing. I remember going to the writing lab freshman year, having them to review my papers all the time. And it got to a point where I would take my paper to the writing lab and they would say, "Hey, I don't really see any errors. You're doing a pretty good job." So I would really have to point out that Stockton prepared me academically in my writing skills to help me in my career at this time.
Ms. Ramos.
My first job after graduation, part-time, was working for Marriott Vacation Club, which was very convenient because while I was in the teaching program, I was able to do that part-time, and it was down the street from Stockton, like a 5-minute drive in Galloway. As far as how Stockton prepared me for my current career, while I was at Stockton my senior year, or actually my junior year, when I turned 21, I worked for Red Bull Energy Drink as well as various liquor companies. And so that's what prepared me to be a program coordinator for a liquor distributor.
We do have some attendees that are not panelists, and we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions for our panelists and also our students. Should panelists also have any questions for our prospective students or for ourselves, the staff at Stockton?
Hi, this is Elisa again. I want to ask all of the alums if you could give one word of advice to your freshman self.
I think for me, it's twofold. One is engage with your preceptor, who is your college guidance counselor, early and often. And also in doing that, getting involved with the Career Center early. Junior year is really too late. Go freshman year and get involved with that office, so that way you can see internships and get involved with different communities that you might not be able to have engaged with without that resource, because it is there for a resource, and your fees are already going towards it. It's not like an additional thing that you need to pay for, so you might as well be utilizing it. I wish I would have went to the Career Center earlier and continued to ensure that I went to my preceptor every time. So that would be my piece of feedback or advice.
Okay, for me, I would say to constantly keep your eyes on the prize, and that's to stay focused. You're there for an education and to be mindful to keep that first. I think I mentioned that earlier. And secondly, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's, going to a professor, going to the writing center. Stockton, like I mentioned earlier, like I said previously, was to make sure that, you're okay with how you're feeling. They're there for you, and it's a family at Stockton University.
I'd like to just kind of wrap this up and thank all of our alumni panelists once again that joined us this afternoon to share their Stockton experience and why they chose Stockton. I also want to thank our participants, our future Ospreys who took the time to log in to this session this afternoon. If you have any questions, once again, email admissions@stockton.edu. Have a good night, guys.